Most triathletes like to think they have control over their training and tend to make some big mistakes along their tri journey, and then for some reason not learn from them and keep doing them. So here are the top 5 things beginners and a lot of experienced triathletes tend to make. What's up, guys and gals? Coach Dale here. I see these mistakes all the time, and when we take on a new athlete, tendency is these are the first few things that will change in their training regimen. So let's dive in, and hopefully by the end of the video you'll have all the info you need to avoid these pitfalls like you avoid post-workout stretching. Mistake number 1, not following a plan. Having a plan is always better than not having any plan at all. If you train all willy-nilly, your results are going to be willy-nilly. Whether it's a pre-built plan or a custom plan from a coach, it's always going to give you better results much faster. And if the person who wrote it is worth their salt, you're going to be less susceptible to injury. But word of caution here when it comes to free stuff on the internet. Do your research, but believe it or not, when your buddy tells you to Google fartlek, it's not a trap. At any rate, if you're going to use a free plan, at least find out who put it together or find a coach that is capable of working around your present life scenario and fitness levels. Mistake number 2, not taking the time to correct and learn sport-specific movement mechanics. And we're talking swim stroke, we're talking pedal stroke, we're talking getting your bike fit, and of course, running mechanics. It's worth every penny to get a qualified coach to check out how you move. Think of it like cheap insurance, because if you have poor movements, you are more susceptible to injury and you're probably not optimizing your force output. Let's face it, endurance sports are overuse at their core. So the goal here is to optimize 3 things. Joint alignment. Think about how many times you hit the ground when you're running. If you have a slight twist in the knee, how much torque is that going to put at the knee joint every single stride? 2, direction of force. Now we're going back to high school physics a little bit here. So if we push down, we go up. So we want to make sure that we're putting force in the proper direction to optimize our movement. 3, muscle activation, especially for you guys and gals who may work at a desk and sit on your butt most of the day. Muscles that aren't active aren't going to contribute to your movement or stabilizing your body as you move in space. And you can actually shut off a muscle by putting too much pressure on it. So by optimizing our muscle activation, we're only going to improve our performance and keep us off the bench. Mistake number 3, strength training. Now, if you know me at all, you knew this was coming. There's no better way to prepare your body to take a pounding than through strength training. And side benefit, it just helps you be a more functional human. You know, like if you want to carry more than 1 bag of groceries one day. I don't know, dream big. Oh, and for those of you who are still worried about getting big and bulky and gaining a bunch of weight, stop it. Everyone's doing it. Even those little teeny tiny pro athletes are getting under a bar these days. Mistake number 4, not getting enough recovery. This is a massive mistake. Rest and recovery is the main way that your body gets stronger. You load fatigue into the system through your training, and this can be over a few sessions, a few weeks, but eventually we have to unload some of that fatigue to let the body more or less heal itself. And through that healing comes improved performance. A lot of new triathletes never take recovery, so they just pile on fatigue more and more and more into the system, and eventually they either get injured or sick. And in the business, we call this forced recovery. It's really not hard. If you have a hard training day, take it easy the next day. If you string together 2 to 3 weeks of really solid training, take 5 to 7 days, super easy. And I'm not saying do nothing, but just keep it short, keep it chill. Mistake number 5, training alone all the time. Now this may come as a surprise to some of you because a lot of triathletes get into triathlon for the community and social aspect of the sport. But triathlon can be a lonely island, especially if you are trying to balance work and family into it. But training alone, unless you're like a world champion introvert, is a real quick way to get burnt out. So be on the lookout for those group trainings, like group rides, runs, and if you're a new beginner, a true beginner, group swims. Group training also adds another layer of accountability to your training. It really only takes you finding that one training buddy that will basically make you feel terrible for missing a training session to double down on your consistency. And unless you're the only triathlete in town, I bet there are opportunities already out there. We live in what used to be considered the least healthy city in America. And now we have group rides every single day, and some of them can have 50 to 60 riders on them. Bonus mistake number 6.
The number of the day is 6.
Focusing on long course events too soon. I know this makes me sound like I have a chip on my shoulder in regards to long course triathlon, but it's not the case. I really do enjoy coaching athletes through long course events and even having them excel at long course triathlon. But when new triathletes go straight into long course levels of training, they incorrectly learn that the sport of triathlon requires a ton of time and a lot of sacrifice. It's also a bigger stress on the family dynamic. So most of the time, a new person that goes straight into long course triathlon lasts about 1 season and then they sell all their stuff. Not to mention, they never learn to move fast. Who are the fastest triathletes in long course right now? It's the guys and gals that came up through the sprint and Olympic ITU short course ranks. It's no coincidence. They spent years learning how to be fast. So my recommendation would be to keep it to sprint or Olympic distance for a season or 2, learn the fundamentals, learn to love training, get linked in with the community, pick up some speed, and then if you're jonesing to go long, crush it. If you want more tips for triathletes of all levels, hit that subscribe button, and as always, trust your training.